Hello and welcome to Relax the Shoulders and Neck Aerial Yoga. Today is going to be all about tractioning the neck and getting those shoulders to relax into their pockets and create some space here, especially if you tend to hold a lot of tension in this way. So we're really going to open up that upper mid back and create some space in your neck. Today we are going to be inverting fully without any attachment to the floor. So if you would prefer to have a thicker pad or a crash pad or something underneath, you may. I do not have one here with my studio today for me, but if you would like to have one, you may do so. All right, so let's get going. I'm going to have you first come into a wrist wrap. So bring that silk over in front of you and find yourself acting as if you're going to give the silk a hug. As those hands come in front of you, the hands are going to come into the center of the silk as if you were wiping hair off your face, and then grab the silk. From there, slide on in, nice and steady there with that wrist wrap. So you have both of them there, nice and close grip. Step the feet back behind the plumb line. Take a nice deep breath in and out. And then on the exhale, I want you to glide forward. Now, as you do, keep those shoulders plugged back into their pockets. You can open them up here a little bit, but if you start to open those armpits and you feel pinched in the back of your shoulders, you want to pull those armpits back towards you again and get those shoulders into their pockets. Now from here, I want you to take and widen your feet about the width of your mat, or maybe even a little wider. And from here, I want you to start to glide side to side. Now, as you do, each silk's going to move independently, meaning the one silk's going to feel like it's moving down while the other silk feels like it's moving up. And you're just going to glide and start to notice how those shoulders and shoulder blades can kind of find some space here as they move side to side. We're going to be doing a lot of child's pose today and cat-cow. So now bring your feet in. And this version that you're going to do is take a nice deep breath in, reach the tailbone back. You can bend the knees here if you need to. As you exhale, act as if you're trying to pull the silk down. Feel the spine round. And then inhale, glide the heart back out and forward. Exhale to round the back into cat. And then inhale, gliding forward like cow. And give yourself a few reps here, settling into your breath, finding some space through those shoulder blades as you round. As you glide, maybe you feel as if the shoulder blades are trying to come back towards the spine, and then stretch them. One more here. And now glide yourself all the way up to standing. Next up, we're going into a rib hang. So come forward, stand in front of the silk, arms will reach up, hands reach high. Now from here, take the feet just a little bit wider than the hip bones, so think more like the shoulder width apart. Arms will stay straight, legs will stay straight. Rock yourself back into this plank-like position. Now you can walk yourself forward so that you're more under your plumb line. And then readjust everything until you are at the widest part of your rib cage. Now here, straighten the legs long. Keep the hips slightly elevated. Bring the hands behind the head. I want you to take a nice deep breath in and out here. So the chin stays neutral towards the chest. And I want you to just breathe into the backs of the ribs. So almost as if you were expanding the rib cage and the silk. Can you stretch the silk with your back? Two more breaths here. And now I want you to take those feet a little bit wider, but keep the knees straight for the moment. glide the upper body as if you were doing like a crescent moon shape here. And then glide to the other side. Create this crescent moon. Now I want you to do a few of them. Just glide through. Start to open up the space of the side body, the intercostals. The whole time the chin is still supported by the hands behind the head. Chin is neutral. Keeping that neck happy and supported as we work down below where some of the root of our neck problems can originate here in our thoracic spine. Do one more in each direction. And then come into center. From here, I want you to invite your knees to bend a little bit, but you're going to stay back. So unlike chair where we come completely flush under, stay back, but as one knee starts to bend, add that crescent shape. And then go into the other side. Knee bends, crescent shape. And then glide through here a few times. Nice and steady. And think about the space you're creating in the side body. Breathe into it. And then bring both legs straight. Keep the tailbone tucked under, legs straight. Find that crescent, and perhaps you send the arms up overhead, interlacing through the fingers. Deep breath in and out. Come back through center, and now take it to the other side. Deep breath in and out. One more. And come back to center. Now, bring the elbows in here for just a moment to help support you as you heel toe. Feet are close together now. Straighten the legs. Lift through the hips. Ground through the ribs. Reach the arms up overhead. And maybe you even find a little bit of a back bend here. So I'll come a little bit forward so I have some more space. And find that upward reach. Deep breath in. Shoulders back into their pockets. Deep breath out. Keep breathing. Think of this like Urdhva Hastasana, upward reaching hands. You're just on a tilt. Now, bring the hands back to the silk. Drop the tail here a little bit. Let the spine traction. Bring the knees bent, feet flat. We're not going to swing or sway into the hips today. We're going to think about letting the hips get heavy, heavy, heavy. And feeling if we can breathe into that back body, into the back of the waist. Feel the traction of the silk. It's pulling the thoracic spine up. Shortening some of those muscles that we tend to elongate and stretch over much when we are rounded forward in our posture. One more deep breath in and out here. And now we're going to make our way up. So reach a little higher on that silk. Snake the hips up to snake the body up to standing. We're coming into seated next. So we're going to take some time here in seated, and then we're going to take extra time today with our inversion, because I want you to have a few rounds of the same inversion so you get more and more comfortable with it. But for the moment, let's start with some seated. So take the silk, gather it up about 8 to 10 times. Find that edge close to your sacrum or the back of the hips. Tuck your elbows in. Take a deep breath in. And on the exhale, you're going to pop yourself up into your swing set. We've done that over and over, right? Now let's find some gentle twists to really help elongate through the upper body. So deep breath in, hands overhead. As you exhale, one hand comes forward. It's going to tuck in front of the opposite knee, so reach across the body, find it, and then gently pull back through both backs of the wrists, backs of the hands, to feel like you're lifting the heart up, sinking the shoulders down. Perhaps you look back over your back shoulder and breathe. Two more breaths here. Bring it up to center. Other side, so taking the opposite hand now across. Once it finds the hook of that knee, press back into both backs of the hands, lift the heart, melt the shoulders down, look over the back shoulder. Deep breaths. Bring it back up and around, inhaling. Now flow with that from side to side here for a few rounds of breath. Reaching back, inhale, reaching up, exhale, twisting to the other side. Think fluid and light. One more to each side, please. Come back around to that original side. Find that twist. Maybe you scoop your fingers under your thigh this time so you can get a little extra pull. See if you can actually bend into the back elbow so that it scoops up. So if you can see my fingers over here, it's scooping up to press into the back of my waist. And now I'm going to think pull into the front thigh and press into the back hand. Look over that shoulder if it's available to your body and breathe. Let each breath take you just a little bit further. Come back up around to center. And now exhale, take it to the other side. So scoop those fingers under the front thigh. Bring that back arm into a bent position. So the back of the wrist scoops into your waist. And now think of this 50-50 pull, if you will, that you're pulling into the front thigh, squeezing it more towards you so that you can twist more into that back shoulder. Plug it down into its pocket. Back of the wrist pressing into the waist, opening up that chest wall, breathing. Shortening those overstretched upper back muscles that crank themselves over devices and computers too often. Breathing in and breathing out. On the next breath, bring it up on an inhale. And exhale, bring the hands to heart center. As you do, notice that you can catch your elbows there in the front of the silk. Slide the elbows into that tension. So now as you kind of press the heart forward, shoulders down and back, you're almost as if you're trying to stretch the silk with your elbows and your triceps. Good. Breathe in here and out. Breathing in and out. On your next breath, adding a little flow with this. On the inhale, think of dragging the elbows down and back to lift the heart, perhaps even lift the throat. And then on the exhale, feel the tailbone tuck under, rounding the back into this cat sensation. The elbows will kind of feel like they're getting stretched forward, the hands sinking into the heart, head rounding forward. Then inhale, press the heart forward, stretch the elbows down, lift through the heart, through the neck. Exhale, tuck and fold. Noticing how the tension of the silk really can help facilitate an extra smidgen of stretch, and how the tension it provides actually assists the body in feeling this stability so that you can find an extra inch or two of mobility. And of course, gravity is not pulling on your body as much. So you're able to really focus on opening and closing through facets of the spine that usually are not available to us when we are so concerned with holding ourselves up in gravity. More here. And then bring it back through. Great. We're going to change this again. So before we do some more cat-cow, I want to actually explore a little bit more of how some ground poses, when brought into the space of aerial, really can help us find different avenues of stretch because we are not contending with gravity. And one of those is eagle pose, Garudasana. So I'm going to talk about left and right just this once, because it will help you just find which side you're working with. So I'm going to have you put right knee over left knee, right knee over left knee. Now here, if maybe you don't typically get your legs crossed here, maybe you can get a little bit more of that tuck. Maybe you cannot, and that's okay. I just want you to cross one leg over. So if your right knee is on top, now I want you to reach your arms out, and the right elbow is going to go on the bottom. So right knee on top, right elbow is going to go under the left elbow, and then you're going to spiral those upper arms around until you can potentially catch your wrist or put palm to palm. Now here, as you kind of lift your spine up, think sits bones down, spine high, I want you to lift the elbows up, away from the heart, lifting those triceps away from the heart. And see if you can feel the arms of Garudasana. Oftentimes we're so concerned with what's happening in our lower body and trying to stay upright that we often miss the beautiful stretch of the arms of eagle. Now, let's flow with this a little bit. You can, keeping the elbows up away from the heart, think flex through the spine. You might touch your elbows to your top of your knee, and then lift up as if you were saluting the sun. Come back down and lift. So we're massaging through those upper mid-back muscles here, creating some space. Then unravel those arms. Good. Take a moment here now to just settle back into both knees. Maybe you dangle a little bit, get some blood flow into those feet if that compression behind the knees is causing some tingling sensation. And now left knee goes on top of right. If left knee goes on top of right, you can squeeze in. Maybe you can even cross. If not, that's okay. The silk does some of that capability, but our focus here is on the upper body, so this is fine. Left knee over right. Bring the arms forward, left elbow under right this time, and spiral around. Try to catch at the wrist or palm to palm, and then lift the elbows away from the heart. Deep breath in and out here. Let's stay here for a few breaths. Now, add in that cat-cow-like sensation, keeping the elbows up away from the heart. Flex at the spine to scoop over until maybe you can tap your elbows to the tops of those knees, and then lift. When I say the tops of the knees, it's really almost more like mid-thigh, kind of right where that silk line is. So there's no need to try to tap the kneecap itself. You might feel like you're topsy-turvy and wanting to popple out of the silk. So just think cat-cow with the spine, elbows up away from the heart. A few more breaths here. And then bring your body upright, unravel those arms. Just take a moment here to inhale, reach those arms up. Exhale, let them float down. Inhale, reach them up. Exhale, floating down. Just think big eagle's wings here, flying up, flying down. One more time. And down. Lovely. Okay, so let's go back into a little bit of cat-cow and some child's pose variations. We're going to do this with an elbow wrap. So to do that, grab a hold of the back of the silk here. And you can lean back into it a little bit, just enough that what I want you to do is take your elbows and squeeze them in so that you kind of catch the silk and squeeze it in. Once you have caught the silk with your elbows, you're going to pull yourself into like a little bicep curl, pulling yourself up, and those elbows are going to bring that silk it's caught right into center. And then you're going to take those silk edges out of the frame of your silk. So you'll feel that tight silk. You're kind of going through the door or window of the silk until the elbows can reach out. Once the elbows are out, you're going to feel that silk kind of tighten up around your upper mid back. Perfect. You're going to bring your hands into a clasped position, or you can go wrist to wrist, whatever feels better. You're going to place your forehead on your wrist or your hands, okay? So however that feels comfortable for you. And now from here, I want you to just be here for a moment. So resting the forehead on the hands, elbows wide. With every breath, see if you can breathe into the back body. And as you exhale, can you surrender a little more into the abdomen? You may notice that your spine is feeling elongated. The armpits are wide open here, and this is a beautiful thing for your lymphatic system. Get some fresh lymphatic energy into those armpits. We'll open up those lymph nodes. Meanwhile, you're compressed in the pelvic area where another group of lymph nodes are. And this compression is also a good thing because after the compression, much like eagle pose, once we open up that space, it gets fresh oxygenated blood. Breath of fresh air. Breathe into the back. Moving on, we're going to add a little cat-cow to this, if you will. So you're just going to think of, everything stays the same. The only thing that changes is instead of stillness in the spine, we're going to start to flex and arch. So we're kind of already in the arch, the long back. I want you to just flex the spine like you're coming into cat again. Those elbows are going to stay wide. You're going to feel kind of the back of the armpit, really high part of the triceps, maybe pressing into that door or window frame of the silk. And then inhale, you'll send your heart forward again. Exhale, flexing back. Inhale, sending it forward. Now, as you flex back, be attentive to pulling up through the pelvic floor, zipping up through the core, feeling that drawing up and away from the thighs. And then inhale, dropping into the thighs. Exhale, flex, pull up, and sink back. Two more here. And be aware that you can always find an extra bit. Maybe that head can flex under just a smidgen more. Now come into that center position, the original position, and just gently kind of sway the elbows side to side, gently, like you're in slow moving water. The silk is such a great tool for helping you find spaces. Come on into center and make your way all the way up very gently. This time as you curl up, you're going to bring those elbows back in, take those angel's wings back out behind you, and now let those hands float down. From here, notice this silk edge and its tension. Kind of bring your shoulders inside the silk here for a moment. And then I want you to tuck your head under. As you tuck your head under, you're going to nestle those shoulders down into that edge so they hold you. And then I want to see if you can let your head get really heavy. Your fingers are just dangling back behind you as your shoulders dive into that front edge of silk. Let the head hang. Take nice deep breaths in and out. Notice any tension you might be holding in the neck and see if you can let the head drop just a little bit more with every breath. Three more deep breaths here. On your next inhale, start to lift back up to an upright seated position. Take a nice deep breath in and out. Notice any space that's in your neck. Notice if the shoulders feel a little lower And perhaps also you can feel the energy through your arms, through your fingers, as that fresh blood flow returns. Now, for our next part of this sequence, we're going to go into a fully suspended state. I'm going to actually turn my back for part of this so that you can see what's happening at the front of my silk, at the shoulders of my silk, because that's the most important part of this next series. But do know that you can remain seated right where you are, but do be mindful of where your wall is, if there is one close by or anything else around you, because we are going to flip fully through. Now, if you'd like to watch this in its entirety first before attempting it, please do so, especially if you're a visual learner, because once you get into the origami of this silk for these poses, you won't be able to see me. We just have to go by my words. So I'm going to actually show you right where I'm at the moment. Actually, no, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and turn around. So that way, as I invert, I can actually, well, no, I'm going to do it here. So as I invert, I can talk to you, okay? I'm getting myself wrapped around here. So for this one, it's going to be really important, and I'll show you when I turn around where the shoulder line is, okay? But I'll show you really quickly here first, just so you can see the whole series. I'm going to be putting my feet in and stretching my silk out so that I have a blanket, like so. And it should be able to go to all over my shins, preferably even over my knees. I only need a little bit of silk at the top, and I'm going to cross check, and I'll show you that here in a moment. And then I'll put my thumbs in the inside silk's edge, wrap my fingers around the silk's edge, and then roll my hands in. I'll show all of you that in just a moment. Then I'm going to pull my legs up. I'm going to press into the silk and drop into my knees and send my hips back into that window of the silk. So you'll feel a little tension on each side. You just stick your tush back in there, and then you are like so. Head will dangle. All right, I'm going to come out and show you how to set it up on the other side, and then you're going to join me. So we're going to pull this down and through, just like so. And I'm going to make my way around to the other side of the silk. Now I'm just going to do it by switching and changing right through side saddle. You're welcome to change if you need to. If you notice something around you, now that you have seen it, if you're like, oh, I might need to flip my head around because my wall is closer to this side or whatever, then go ahead and do that. Now the visual on this side quickly. Notice right now I have a lot of silk behind me. I don't need all of that, so I'm going to lean back into it just enough to get my feet in there, and I'm going to start to walk my silk out from under me until I get this blanket, and I'm going to then get my angel's wings back on. And here I notice still that I've got a little bit of a turtleneck that's rolled up. That will not feel good once you're upside down. So I'm going to take my feet and I'm going to stretch my silk out a little bit more. It gives me more blanket. And now I've got my t-shirt line. So notice as I take my arms and I cross them like a mummy or whatnot, I'm going to grab a hold of those silk edges, and I can feel my shoulders covered. And there's not a ton of silk here at my neck. That's perfect. Now once I have those, I want to make sure shoulders are in, neck is clear. I'm going to take my hands up, give it a thumbs up, stick the thumbs, so you'll rotate so you're looking at your palms, thumbs go in, wrap the fingers, and then wrap your arms. Chin is tucked in. All right, so from here I'm going to lift those feet up. Notice the blanket is still on the legs. Now I'm going to pull the silk down and press into it to kind of roll my body back. And as I do, I'm going to watch my knees find that silk, and I'm going to catch it. And now, hi, there you are. I am upside down. Now, if you're like, wait, I didn't catch it just yet, that's okay. We're going to be here. If you did catch it, be here for a couple of breaths. If you didn't catch it, go back onto your back, because I'm going to get everybody into it again. Each rep gets a little bit better. You find those little things that work. Like right now I'm high in my hips. I didn't sit my hips back into that pocket quite yet. Hands can also relax, by the way, once you're in there. If you're coming out of your shoulder at all, out of that t-shirt, you definitely need to come back onto your back. Now, everybody, join me back onto your back. So I'm going to grab a hold of that silk's edge. So where your hands are, they're kind of up and behind you. I'm going to pull my hands to that silk's edge and find it. And I'm going to now press into my toes, press my toes down into the silk. It lifts my hips up. And I'm going to very gently just roll back into the back of the silk. So I'm back at that starting point again. So let's try it again. If you need to, you can take a moment, place your hands behind your head and kind of squeeze your chin towards your chest. That can take some tension. You can even give yourself a few little head nods here with your hands supporting. Fun fact, I had spine surgery on my neck back in 2010, and they tell me I need 3 or 4 more, but I've proved them wrong with my Pilates reformer and my aerial silk. So, but I do understand neck tension. So you can go ahead and give yourself a few nods here. And then we're going to try that again. So I want you to find your t-shirt again, find that cross check. So arms reach for the sky, arms cross. So right hand is on the left shoulder, right hand, left shoulder, left hand, right shoulder. Give it a little tug, make sure the shoulders are in. Once you're there, take your hands back up towards the ceiling, turn your hands so you can look at your palms, stick your thumbs out, put your thumbs into the edge of the silk. Once you're there, wrap your fingers around the edge of the silk to then roll your hands and arms kind of like into this long glove sensation. Now, make sure you still have that blanket on down there, because you're going to start to kind of shrug your shoulders down and back, press into the silk through those hands, roll so that you catch your knees, and then send your hips back through that little window that you feel, tucking into a little ball. This is suspended child's pose. Now breathe here. Nice and steady with your breath. And again, if you missed something on it or you're upside down and you do not feel secure, like I can turn every muscle off here. I can let my head get super heavy, my shoulders melt away, my hips go lower and lower. I sit kind of like I'm trying to sit back onto my heels. I just turn everything off. If you're not quite there yet, you can roll back onto your back and try again. I'm going to have everybody try it one more time with me in just a moment. If you made it here, I'm trying to hold space for you to just breathe and let that head get heavier and heavier. All right, everyone together, we're going to roll back onto our back, reset the position, and roll back into this suspended child's pose, which I also call new moon. One more time. So if you let go of the hands, put the hands back around that silk's edge. So grab a hold of those silk's edge, and then you're going to start to press into the toes. That will lengthen the legs and send your hips towards the sky. And now you're going to roll into the spine, right back into that starting position. Here again, you can take your hands behind your head and just give yourself a few little head nods with that hand support. And then you're going to find your t-shirt position one more time. So first, make sure that you still have your blanket, because sometimes when we roll in and out, we lose our blanket a little bit. And then definitely check the cross check. So right hand on left shoulder, left hand on right shoulder. Find that t-shirt that your shoulders are covered but the neck is clear. And now hands reach to the sky. Turn the hands so that you can see the palms. Stick your thumbs into that inside edge of the silk. So inside the silk. And then wrap your fingers around the edge of silk and roll your arms into it. From here, keeping that chin tucked, watch those legs come up. Now watch those knees bend and come towards your nose as you float over. Tuck your hips back into that little pocket. Find that you can shrug your head out a little bit, but not your shoulders. Shoulders are in the silk. Head can nod yes. It can nod no. I guess shake it no would be more appropriate. You get a lot of stimulation in the 8th vertebra, so just know that you're going to feel, which is also a really lovely point that we do a certain breath for in Kundalini. So that 8th vertebra, it's a hard one to really kind of rejuvenate and get fresh blood flow to, so it is a little sensitive sometimes when we can finally access it and get some movement for it. So just try to sit and simmer with it. Breathing. With every breath, just let the head get a little heavier and heavier. Fun fact, this is the first time I have filmed myself doing this. And I just realized that we look like one of those spaceships in Star Wars. So, with the wings that stick straight up in the air when they land. So there you go. Fun fact if you're a Star Wars fan. All right, take another deep breath in and out here. I have one more pose I want to share with you today before we settle into Savasana. Now, know that you can, if the next one looks like, woo, maybe too much, you can come right back into this one. There's no need to go into compass if you do not want to. I am going to go into compass now. I'll talk you into it, but if you feel like you need to see it first, this might be where you unravel yourself and come on up to watch. You can pause and rewind and come back if you need to, but I'm still in our suspended child's pose. I'm still in the weird spaceship. But now to get into compass, which is basically a handstand without any hands. Look, Mom, no hands. We are going to do this. You're going to bring your hands back to the silk's edges again. So if you let go of the silk, maybe you're still holding on to it, but you can let go of it when you're in this space. If your hands were let go, bring them back, holding on to the silks. And now you're going to roll heavy into those toes again, lift the hips up. Now here it's important, make sure you have your shoulders on, non-negotiable. And then you're going to walk your hips back just enough that you can walk your feet out of the silk, and then take your feet and put them, just the hook of the ankles here on either side of the silk. Once you have that hook, you're going to slide your legs long. Keep your legs kind of very gently, do not overpress. Very gently start to slide the legs long, hips long, and here you are, handstand. No hands, Mom. And in fact, if you feel secure about it, you can even take your hands out of that grip and just let them be. Now sink the neck. Breathing in. Breathing out. If you start to get lightheaded and dizzy, please bring your butt down and roll down. One more here. Now, I'm going to fold at the hips, send my tush down into the silk. Catch it, make sure it's there. Bring the feet into the silk. Bring the whole body into the silk. Head as well. Reach the hands overhead, prayer position. Glide the body side to side. So think crescent moon, crescent moon. Let it be nice and gentle, and just keep swaying. Now as you keep moving, we're setting up for Savasana. But you are going to stay right where you are. as you sway side to side. Now, for those of you who maybe want to take one more compass, if you're familiar with it and can do it, go ahead and take another moment with it. If it was new to you and you were like, okay, that's enough, just stay here in the side sway here for a moment. Letting the neck and shoulders relax, feeling that side body open up. Nice deep breaths in and out. Now, if you took compass one more time, go ahead and settle down into your silk, laying yourself entirely out. And once everyone is in their cocoon, if your hands were reaching overhead and you were swaying, for some of you, you might want to just bend at the elbows so that those upper arms kind of hug your temples or your head, and the fingers can just dangle towards the floor outside of the silk. So it's kind of hook up and over your head a little. Others might find it more comfortable to cross your arms over your chest. And others might find it comfortable to just place your hands on your belly. But try to get into a place where you can kind of shrug your shoulders down and under you so they're not crowding your earlobes. And now invite your breath into this space. Notice how your in-breath can stretch the silk ever so gently. And as the in-breath stretches the silk, notice how the exhale invites the silk to gently hug back into your body. If you find that your thoughts are gathering, just imagine, if you will, your breath being like a gentle breeze, whistling through the trees, rustling. And your thoughts are like those leaves, just shaking and shivering and lifting away, letting go of their hold, drifting free in the wind. As you settle deeper and deeper into Savasana, perhaps your breath is able to settle further and further into the body. Feeling how it travels beyond the deep lobes of the lungs and into the back of the waist, into the depths of the hips. Invite a deep breath into the body. And for this practice, as we begin to awaken the body, I invite you to work from the inside out. So very subtly as you breathe in, allow the tailbone to get heavy. And as you exhale, start to just lift ever so slightly through the pubic bone. You'll feel the back kind of flex into the soak, and then inhale. Feel the small of the back lift, and exhale, feel it flex. And as you continue to breathe, maybe you start to make that ever so subtly deeper until it feels as if it starts to move in through the hips. Perhaps you can feel the mid-back start to lift and then flex. And then perhaps you start to wiggle through shoulders and knees as that flex and extend moves the body further and further into the arms and legs. And then maybe a gentle side bend or sway starts to happen as you continue to send energy from the inside out. You can stretch through fingers, toes, roll the wrists and ankles as you sway. Coming to center, allow the feet to come out of the silk and dangle towards the floor. And here again, just invite some gentle swaying into the body. Moving your arms in any way that they like. It's your space and your practice. And reaching the arms overhead or towards the ceiling and letting your hands find the silk's edge. Gently, very gently pull yourself up. And right away, allow the hands to drop back behind you. Those arms are still out at the back edge of the silk as you now nestle your shoulders into the front edge of that silk once more and drop the head. Take several deep breaths here. Letting the head relax and grow heavy one more time. On your next inhale, let your head gently lift as if you were looking out over the edge of your mat. And then exhale, stack yourself up one vertebrae at a time. Inhale, reach the arms up. Deep breath in, and exhale, let those elbows come back in. Good, breathe in. And breathe out. Breathing in. And breathing out. And one more deep breath in. Exhale, let it sigh away so gently. Let the elbows relax, the hands come to heart center. May your mind be at peace. May your words be full of love. And may your heart know joy. Namaste. Thank you for joining me today for our Relax the Shoulders and Neck Aerial Yoga program. If you have any questions at all or have any additional instructions needed for the inversion, please let me know, drop a comment. I'm happy to help in any way that I can. Also, if you could like this video, it's a huge boost to those of us who make these videos. It helps us for sure. And as always, if you subscribe, you'll get notifications to future videos as I make them. Thank you so much and have a beautiful day on purpose.